So, Kaveh and Dharmesh are back with me. Let's talk players now. Kaveh, people like Pogba, Ronaldo, are we expecting them to get moved on now there's a new manager in place?
Look, I think Erik Ten Hag is going to sit down and have a conversation with all those players. All the indications are, as far as Paul Pogba is concerned, he will be leaving Manchester United. Dharmesh was reporting 2 days ago that his representatives are in talks with Juventus and also with PSG. So I think his future is away from United. He will be leaving United on a free transfer for the second time. So I think as far as Pogba is concerned, Erik Ten Hag is going to have to forget about him. There are lots of other players who've got big question marks over their future. For instance, what's going to happen to Marcus Rashford? There have been suggestions that maybe he wants to leave as well. But it is a big job he's got on his hands. I think one thing I've been told today is that maybe United fans shouldn't be expecting United to be going into the transfer market and throwing their money around like they have in the past. I think there are two reasons for that. The first one is they've been burnt before. They've spent a lot of money and the players they've bought haven't been good enough for Manchester United. And the second one, of course, is if United are not in the Champions League, they are not going to be able to attract the highest calibre of player. So I think one thing that Erik Ten Hag has got in his favour is the fact that he's worked with young players. He knows how to bring through young players. He knows how to develop players who are already at a club. So I think United will be tapping into those young players that they've had. And historically, they've had very, very good young players.
Sorry, Dharmesh, but I want to talk about an old player because you swerved my question. Ronaldo, will he have made a decision about him, do you think?
I think, look, Cristiano Ronaldo has got a contract at Manchester United. He's got another year to run. He has scored, 21 goals this season. I think the issue that Ronaldo may have under Erik Ten Hag is the amount of work that players are expected to do when a team is out of possession. Is somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo suited to that kind of game? But then again, there are lots of other players at Manchester United who don't seem to do a lot of work when United are out of possession.
Rangnick came in, didn't he? And that was what he was going to do, and it didn't happen.
That is what Rangnick was supposed to do, and it hasn't happened. But I think Ten Hag will have the authority to be able to demand that, and he will demand that. And if you don't do it, you won't get in the team. I think Cristiano Ronaldo, he is arguably the greatest player of all time. So if you're going to make exceptions for any player, it would be somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo. And I think it would be unfair to single him out and pick him out because he's been such a fantastic servant for the club. You know, you can't criticise him, and I think he should probably stay at United for at least another year. But of course, you can't rely on a 37-year-old player if you are doing a rebuilding job.
Just picking up on what Kaveh is saying, Mike, I've spoken to someone close to Erik Ten Hag in the last 15 or 20 minutes or so, and a couple of things stood out for me. He said, look, the first thing about Erik Ten Hag, I know we've been touching on this, and it might be an obvious thing, but one of his strengths is this clear vision of a game plan. And what he expects from his players is to follow a tactical game plan and to work hard. Those are the two basic things that he asks for. And as Kaveh alluded to in the last hour, if players aren't willing to do that, then the transfer window's open, away you go. But then if you look at a player like Donny van de Beek as well, he's another good case in point, on loan at Everton, but of course was the number 10, the main man for Ajax under Erik Ten Hag when they reached the Champions League semi-finals when they were beaten by Tottenham. Now, if you're Donny van de Beek, it's not a case of necessarily you'll come back to Manchester United after your loan spell is up and you're straight back into the team, but because Erik Ten Hag will approach everything with a clean slate now, I think, and I think Van de Beek will see himself as having an opportunity to try and get back into the first team at Manchester United, because the noises we've been hearing from his camp about the chances he had at Manchester United were not so much that he wasn't getting picked, but he wasn't getting the opportunity to show what he could do at all. The issue he's got there is that the number 10 role effectively is being filled by Bruno Fernandes. He's just signed a new improved contract at Manchester United. Is there a way where both of those players could fit into an Erik Ten Hag team? For example, is Bruno Fernandes maybe a number 8 and then could Van de Beek play as that number 10? So there's so many questions and answers that still need to be posed about Erik ten Hag and his Manchester United, particularly about who goes and who stays at the club. But for the last 9 years, let's make no bones about it, since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, this has been a story of managerial recruitment and player recruitment that has not gone down very, very well at United. If you look at a football club, if you have a structure in place where you have a sporting director who will choose the players, then it's so much easier to change a manager rather than to change a squad of players. But what Manchester United have done, they've chosen managers since Ferguson, Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ralf Rangnick in an interim role. You can't honestly say that they share the same philosophy and the same values, and hence, because of that, they will be signing different players. And now, the squad that Manchester United have at their disposal contains players from Fergie's era, from Moyes' era, from Van Gaal's era, from Mourinho's era, from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's era. It can't bode well for continuity. So hence why they took their time with this appointment and said, you're going to have the time and the tools available to you to do what you want with that squad.
An extension to that then, Carve. Bruno Fernandes had, 4 years left on his contract. They've given him loads more money and an extension to that contract. Should we read into that Erik ten Hag had something to do with that? Said, I want him, I want to keep him, look after him.
I'm not so sure. I think Erik ten Hag has only recently made up his mind that he wants to become the Manchester United manager, because, make no mistake, this is a risk for Erik ten Hag as well as for Manchester United, because if this goes wrong for Erik ten Hag, it's going to damage his reputation. And we've seen other managers who've gone to Manchester United and failed, what it has done to their reputation. It's taken them a while to rebuild that reputation. Just following on from what Dharmesh said is, I'm not sure an interview process is the right way for Manchester United to appoint a manager. Now, I'm sure if you speak to people at Manchester United, they will say, we're a modern business. We have to do everything properly. We have to have a recruitment process. We have to interview people. We have to listen to their presentations, see what their vision, what their strategy is for the future. But then when I look at other big clubs in the world and how they appoint their managers, Liverpool, when they wanted Jurgen Klopp, Brendan Rodgers left, they didn't have interviews, they didn't have a recruitment process, they went out and got Klopp. Manchester City went out and got Pep Guardiola because that is the man they wanted. They didn't want anyone else. They wanted Pep Guardiola. Chelsea, when Frank Lampard left, straight away they wanted Tuchel. Spurs this season, straight away they wanted Antonio Conte. Marcelo Bielsa at Leeds United, he didn't have an interview, he interviewed Leeds United to make sure that Leeds United were the right club for him. This summer, if Mauricio Pochettino leaves PSG are not going to put an advert in the local paper in Paris and ask for people to apply. They know they want Zinedine Zidane. They're going to go out and get him. So I know it sounds clever and it's modern, and Manchester United have done their homework and they've had a rigorous process. But at the end of it, I'm not sure if this is the right way for a club as big as Manchester United to be recruiting and appointing a manager.
Look, Carve makes a good point there, but there is a big but there, because you're saying, yeah, why don't they know who their man is, let's go and get him, like Liverpool did with Klopp, like City did with Guardiola. You could argue that's what Manchester United have done for the last 9 years. There's Louis van Gaal, there's our guy, let's get him in. There's Jose Mourinho, he's our guy, let's get him in. And it hasn't worked. So maybe they've looked at that and they've taken a step back this time, because they could so easily, in November, said, let's make a permanent appointment for the next Manchester United manager now. But they decided this hasn't been done in the right way in the past. We need to do this differently. Now, whether you agree with it or not, that they didn't appoint someone like Antonio Conte, who was available and by all accounts would have come to Manchester United, they decided, no, he's not the right fit for United just now. So we are going to bide our time and we are going to do this properly. There are a few candidates who we believe could fit the criteria that we want as the next Manchester United manager. They whittled that down to 3. They did their due diligence. They did the background checks. They did, how does Erik ten Hag, how does Pochettino, how does Lopetegui, how do they operate? How do they play? What do their teams do? What are their records? And they went through all of that.
You don't need to do that with Klopp.
I know you don't.
Do that with Pep.
I know you don't, but I'm saying.
You don't need to do that with Bielsa.
Of course you don't.
To do that with Zidane.
I'm not saying that.
If I was Mauricio Pochettino, I'd be almost insulted that Manchester United want to interview me. Well, you want to interview me? I'm the PSG manager. Every day I'm working with Neymar, I'm working with Mbappe, I'm working with Messi. Look at everything that I've done at Southampton, at Spurs, at PSG. Watch the videos, you know, watch the live games, read about what I've done. You don't need to interview me.
Yeah,
I'm
but
supposed to come here and give you a presentation.
But like I said,
about what I'm about, what my vision and what my
yeah,
strategy
but like I said, this is what Manchester United might have done in the last 9 years since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, and they found out then, actually, this is not the way to go. And for some clubs, it has worked, and for United, it might have worked. We might not be here sitting here if one of these had been a success.
You know that Erik ten Hag has spoken to a lot of people, and a lot of people have said to him, Manchester United is not the right club for you. This is too much of a risk.
Yeah, and he only decided, as Carve mentioned before, in the last couple of weeks that he wanted to take on this job because of the negative press that it was getting.
Did he have other options?
He did have other options. The negative press it was getting, and Louis van Gaal says it's a commercial club. Go to a football club, don't go to a commercial club. But he weighed all of that up, and it's Manchester United at the end of the day. And he said, right, this is a big enough challenge. This is a massive club. Imagine he turns Manchester United back into a trophy-winning club. Hero
Imagine.
status.
It's just like old times, you two bickering. Lovely to have you back.